Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update video. We'll have a bit of a chat about what's happened in Spain over the last week or so, and we'll also go into the press and check out what is happening there about Spain today. Now, as you can see, a nice day, a little bit overcast, a little bit hazy. It's going to be hot, around 35 degrees Celsius, I believe. The earlier prediction was around 39, but 4 degrees have been wiped off that initial forecast, which is good. And I'm standing outside today around 10:30 in the morning. The sun's coming through. I might need to put a hat on in case the sun starts burning my skin. There's been a bit of talk in some parts of the country over the last week or so, people asking themselves, is summer going to arrive? Normally, summer temperatures are here at this time of the year, but it's been a bit cool, especially in the coastal areas, but that is not the case in the center of the country where it has been hot for the last week or so. So what has been happening in Spain over the last week or so? Well, two stories have been dominating the press over the last week or so. One related to the Prime Minister's wife, Pedro Sanchez's wife, Begoña Gómez, and all of the mess that she is caught up in at the moment, alleged corruption, alleged influence peddling, and a judge subpoenaed her earlier in the week in order to hear her side of the story. This Prime Minister's wife story has been around for about 2 months now, and over the last 2 months the government has been trying to push off these allegations, accusing the opposition parties here in Spain of mudslinging, saying that there is nothing to look at here, please move on. But what happened was that around 2 months ago, a group called Manos Limpias, Clean Hands in English, presented an investigation to a judge and said, you better look at this because we believe that the Prime Minister's wife is involved in influence peddling, supposedly from what they had gathered through press reports. So what they did apparently was they took all of these clippings from the press, presented it to a judge, and the judge has decided to open an investigation, and over the last week, as I said, has called Begoña Gómez to testify in this investigation. And the government, as you would imagine, led by Pedro Sanchez, saying that there is nothing to see here, move on, and is accusing the right and the far right of trying to influence the European elections that are coming up very shortly, I think this weekend in fact, and I'll talk about those in just a moment. So Pedro Sanchez, as you could imagine, not happy with what's going on, blaming the far right for destroying democracy here in Spain, and also hinting that the judicial system is not acting fairly. He thinks that there is some type of bias here, that the judicial system is out to get him. And of course, all of this not good for Spanish democracy and the political system here, in my opinion, of course. So we'll see what Ms. Gómez has to say for herself when she appears in front of the judge. We'll see if she can defend these allegations and whether the judge decides to proceed or whether he thinks that there is also nothing to see here. Time will tell. Now, time to put on a hat because this sun is beating down on my forehead. Now, the second piece of news that has been dominating headlines this week in Spain about the European elections, which will take place this Sunday, I believe, Sunday the 9th of June, and there's a lot of talk about what will happen in those elections. What will the influence of the far right parties be in those elections? Because a lot of the parties that are on the far right here in Europe are also Eurosceptic. They don't agree with the European Union. They don't think that the European Union is the best political model, and some of these political parties have openly said that they don't want to belong to the European Union. So whether we're talking right-wing political groups in France, whether we're talking right-wing political groups in Portugal, Italy, Poland, and even here in Spain, these groups are not in favour of the European Union. So there is some worry for the European Union going forward, some worry for European democracy, and it's going to be interesting to see what type of result these right-wing parties get at the elections on Sunday. Because let's be honest, a lot of people are not happy with the way things are going at the moment, and they're looking for change. Now, time to go into the press and see if we can find some interesting stories about Spain. And this one here has popped up. Not sure if you can read the headline there, but I'll put it on the screen anyway. And we can see here that it says almost half the adult population of Spain is having difficulty making ends meet. So things are getting tough here in Spain for the average worker. And that, no doubt, is one of the reasons why people want political change, thinking that political change will make things better for them. Let's read on. on. I can't make ends meet. This is a phrase that is heard more and more frequently among the people of Spain. Rising food prices, the supply chain crisis and the war in Ukraine have further widened the gap between the cost of living and the salary that many workers in Spain receive at the end of the month. This imbalance between income and expenditure has led to a significant loss of purchasing power, which economists estimate to be around 1,200 euros. This has meant that almost half of the adult population, 48.7%, find it difficult to make ends meet and are limping towards payday. The statistics are revealed in the 14th report on the state of poverty in Spain by the European Anti-Poverty Network in Spain, the EAPN. So a loss of purchasing power here in Spain of around 1,200 euros according to economists, making it difficult for 48.7% of the population to make ends meet. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have noticed over the last couple of years or so, especially over the last year, that it is getting tough here in Spain to indeed make ends meet. My bank account at the end of the month is always at zero. I have virtually no capacity to save any money at all, and I'm waiting for things to get better. I seem to be working harder than I've done in the past, but the rewards don't seem to be there. So very, very frustrating indeed when it comes to making a crust here in Spain at the moment. And I don't know what it's like where you guys are in the world, whether you are also struggling with this higher cost of living, whether you are also having trouble making ends meet. Let me know in the comment section below. Because if it is unique to Spain, it's time to pack our bags and vamonos. Because salaries here in Spain, as we already know, are not the greatest salaries in the world. So if you add that to the higher cost of living, mal vamos. But if there's one thing where I consider myself lucky compared to a lot of people here in Spain, it's when it comes to housing. I don't have a housing issue. We own our own home, so lucky in that regard. But I imagine that if you had to pay rent here in Spain, or if you had a high mortgage, things would be very, very tough indeed. And the final piece of news we'll look at today, going into the international press, and I found this story here in the iNews online newspaper, and the headline here, as we can see, I moved to Spain before Brexit, now a UK pension isn't enough. Mr. Conroy, 69, a retired English teacher, said that house prices have gone up and visa restrictions mean you need more money. And the article goes on, dying Spanish villages grappling with an exodus of young people have been revived by an influx of Britons seeking a new life under the sun. Partiloa and Beda, two municipalities in Almeria, southern Spain, have seen their populations double in almost the past 25 years after a wave of people moving there from the UK. Many of the arrivals are retirees, but despite Brexit making it harder to get visas in Spain, younger Britons have also continued to make new lives in these villages. Stephen Conroy, who is from Liverpool but has lived in Spain for 11 years, is councillor for tourism in Partiloa, where he is responsible for liaising with foreigners living in the village. I would agree that more Britons and other nationalities have come in and changed the village. We have brought more taxes and it has led to better roads being built, he told I. Mr. Conroy, 69, a retired English teacher, said that despite visa restrictions imposed since Brexit, Britons are still coming to live in Partiloa. Now the visa restrictions mean you need more money. You cannot come and live on a UK pension, he said. There are now 3 types of visa in Spain: the digital nomad visa, entrepreneur's visa and non-lucrative visa, under which UK citizens must show they have savings and pay for private health insurance. Before Brexit, UK citizens could be treated for free and did not need to demonstrate they had savings. Under post-Brexit rules, British pensioners must have €16,000 per year to qualify for a non-lucrative visa, and state pensions do not always meet this threshold. So there we go, and not surprising to see that Spain is still a popular destination for Britons who want to get a better life down here in the sun, want to retire down here, or at least come down here and try and work, but not that easy to make ends meet, especially with the new visa requirements. €16,000 needed, and sometimes a pension does not cover that. Add to that the price of healthcare here in Spain, which Britons are obliged to get now. They can no longer use the national health system here, so that's another inconvenience. So not easy to make ends meet either on a British pension here in Spain currently, and especially with those rising costs that I mentioned before. people doing it tough. And before, as pointed out in this article, people from the United Kingdom didn't have to prove that they had any savings, but now, unfortunately, they do. So difficult for both locals and foreigners alike in Spain currently with the cost of living crisis. On that note, I'm going to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. If you have anything to add to the conversation today, please, the comment section is the place for you. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego from Madrid, Spain.